Welcome to Bad Dog Agility, a podcast helping you reach all of your dog agility goals. Whether it's competing under the bright lights of the televised finals at Westminster or successfully navigating a homemade course in your own backyard, we'll bring you training tips, interviews, and news about the great sport of dog agility. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
The show starts with your hosts, Jennifer, Esteban, and Sarah.
I'm Esteban.
And I'm Sarah, and this is episode 367. Today's podcast is brought to you by Synovitin OA. Hey dog lovers, is your furry friend limping or struggling to enjoy agility like they used to? It might be osteoarthritis, OA, a common source of pain and mobility issues in dogs that's driven by inflammation in their joints. Inflammation is the silent enemy, not only causing pain, but also accelerating the progression of OA. Synovitin OA is a groundbreaking one-time injection into the arthritic joint that targets the very cells causing the pain and inflammation. By eliminating these harmful cells, Synovitin OA breaks the cycle of inflammation, offering relief right where it's needed most. Don't let your dog suffer from the pain of arthritis. Visit activedognow.com to learn more about Synovitin OA and give your dog the gift of long-lasting pain-free movement. Studied in canine elbows, Synovitin OA is given by authorized veterinarians. Temporary discomfort in the treated joints may occur. Talk to a treating veterinarian near you for more information and visit activedognow.com. Today's podcast is also brought to you by Clip and Go Agility. Clip and Go Agility has been innovating high-quality, unique agility products for over 15 years. Their goal is to move the sport forward by providing the safest possible equipment for our canine partners. They offer not only jumps, tunnels, and contact obstacles, but also many problem-solving training aids. Clip and Go understands how fitness plays a large part in our dog's overall safety and are pleased to also offer a variety of fitness products to meet your dog's conditioning needs. They include soft jump bumps, cavaletti jumps, VersaFit planks, fitness blocks, and paw pods. Check them out at clipandgoagility.com/fitness and use promo code BDA10 to receive 10% off any fitness products. Clip and Go Agility, because safety matters. Today, we're going to be talking about the success cycle. And this is really just a way of breaking down the process of getting better at agility. So this is the way that we think about how you go from not really knowing anything to being really great at the sport.
I think you may have encountered something like this in business for those of you who studied business or work in business and organizational psychology. So probably this kind of stuff started popping up in the late 1800s or early 1900s as a way of understanding how we can make processes more efficient, right? And so what Sarah's done is taken that and kind of adapted it to dog agility in a very handy way, because I think it does a nice job of explicitly outlining exactly the thought process that I think top trainers really go through.
So the success cycle that we use with our students is learn, execute, review, adjust, and then you level up. And so this is something that you're going to do over and over as you build skills with every dog that you own.
Yeah, so it's a 5-step process is what I'm hearing, although level up to me sounds kind of like...
It's kind of like the end point, right? Like if you do these steps well, then at the end of it, you're going to do better. You're going to kind of hit the next level.
Okay, so it's more like a 4-step process, really.
Yeah.
That fifth part is just level up.
That's the like party. Let's just call it learn, execute, review, adjust, party.
There you go.
There you go.
Well, first let's start off with the learning, right? And so the learning part is really fueled by your need to get knowledge, right? Discover your blind spots, identify your gaps. And I think this is pretty straightforward in dog agility. Most people, when they start out, know that they don't really know much at all, right? Unless you're a man and then you think you can do agility better than your wife who's been doing it for a couple of years.
That's true.
Yeah. We're not speaking from personal experience there. But for most people, they understand that they have a lot to learn and they're going to start going to a class typically, right? And introduce their dogs to obstacles and the whole process begins. And so you need to learn things. There's knowledge that you're missing. I think as you get better, you'll come to discover that there are things you're missing that when you started, you didn't know you would be missing. And so one of them, I'll give you an example that I think about a lot, which is the contacts.
Right.
Right. So it may be that a beginner, you're not familiar with the stopped contact, the 2 on, 2 off position, where your dog could be guaranteed to touch the yellow part of the contact so as to do a legal performance of the A-frame. And so you may not have ever heard of something like stopped contact. So that may be something that comes later. Maybe even you're already trialing, and then at some point you discover your dog is now gained so much confidence and speed, they're just leaping off the A-frame all the time. And someone says, oh, well, you probably need to stop contact. And now you, the beginner, are saying, what? What is stop contact?
They hit the yellow, right?
Right. Well, they hit the yellow sometimes.
Sometimes, right?
Yeah. So there may be gaps in your knowledge that you're not aware of when you first start. And that's why it's so important to start off, hopefully, in a classroom environment where you are working with someone who knows a lot about the sport and can kind of see some of the pitfalls coming and help you avoid them.
Right. So then we go to execute. And this is the part that I think is really interesting in a sports setting, because agility is a physical skill. So like if we talk about learning something, right? When we talk about getting knowledge, a lot of that is like in your head, and it doesn't necessarily translate to how you move your body. You can know something all day long, and that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to do that physical skill. And that's where practice comes in. You've got to put in the repetitions of doing the physical skill. You've got to build muscle memory as a handler. And then to make matters worse, right? You have to do all of that at speed and under pressure. So, agility is a time sport. You're doing things, you're running as fast as you can while you're executing all of these maneuvers. And that is a lot harder than doing the same thing slower. So that execute phase, really is about not just going out and doing the thing, but putting yourself in that kind of trial mentality, that the trial pressure, the trial speed that you're going to have.
All right. So now we have learn and we have execute. And the third step in the success cycle is review. I think this is a step that a lot of people kind of skip, right? It's the one that requires a lot of honesty on the part of the trainer. Review means asking, did it work? What exactly went wrong, right? If it didn't work, are we improving? And you do not want to be guessing, right? You want to be very analytical in this approach. And ideally in dog agility, you're going to do this with video, because you know what never lies? The video never lies. There have been so many times out in practice, and Sarah's been there, where the dog has turned wide or missed the next obstacle or whatever. And my peers will tell me, because, they're watching me, they say, your front cross is late. And I'd be like, it is not late, right? And they'll say, no, it was definitely late. And then if it's Sarah saying that, I will demand a second opinion, right?
Sounds about right.
And then the other people will say, no, Sarah's right. It was really late. And finally, after, I mess it up 2 or 3 times, I will say, show me the video. They show me the video, and then it is appallingly, horribly late. Because it turns out in my mind, in my memory of what I just did, it wasn't late. Okay, but the video doesn't lie, and seeing yourself on video is an extremely powerful thing because it is so objective, right? And so that's why I think video review is such an important part of the review process. Hey, there it is. It's right there in the name. Video review has the word review in it, and review is the third step of the success cycle. And I think this is where people really do need to spend more time.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I love video. I think video is king because you can, slow it down and things like that. But
Or queen.
But if you don't have that, I think just any pair of outside eyes is really, really helpful in that review process. Just somebody that can give you an opinion. A lot of agility, you cannot necessarily even see what's happening. You cannot even necessarily see your own timing.
Not even me.
That's right. You may have your back to the dog on a particular, if you're doing a blind cross, your back is to the dog. You do not know what is happening in, outside of your field of vision. So any kind of outside eyes is going to be really helpful to that process. Then we go to the fourth part of the cycle, which is adjust. And I think this is a really interesting part because based on your review, there are several different adjustments that might happen. So sometimes adjustment is You know what to do and your execution was just off, right? And you just need, maybe it was just a one-time thing. Maybe you just misstepped, miscued. Or maybe you need more repetitions to build fluidity and muscle memory and all of that. But sometimes an adjustment might say, okay, well, I think I executed that pretty well. So the adjustment might be, my dog needs more training. My dog needs more exposure to this particular skill. My timing was spot on. It was perfect, right? So that execution part was fine. But my dog needs to learn some more. My dog is going to go through these phases too. And my dog needs to go get some more knowledge, get some more learning, have some more dog training. So, the solution can be in several different areas of, dog training or handling.
Yeah, and once you've made your adjustment, bam, you're at the final step, step 5, which is to level up. So I'm going to walk you through an example. Let's go back to my contact example. So you learn a contact, or you think you learn the A-frame, you and your dog. You learn the A-frame, you do the A-frame, you start trialing, you do some A-frames, and suddenly your dog flies off. Well, it turns out now you're going to learn about something called stop contacts, right? And you learn that there are some issues in the way in which you taught the A-frame. Okay, so then you learn the new things that you need to do and what you need to do in training, and then you've got to go out there and execute it. Your dog's got to be able to do it in the training environment, typically with treats or toys, right? Available reinforcement. It's there right away. But they've also got to be able to do it at speed, under pressure, as you said, in the trial environment, right? So you're going to spend some time learning about how to make that transition, right? From training to trials for that one skill, the A-frame. And that's all execution. These are things that you have to go out and you have to do, right? You have to do it in training, and then you have to do it there in the trial setting. Then you've got the review process, right? So you're taping all of your runs, you're taping your practice sessions, and you're saying, okay, well, in this practice session, maybe you're using clicker training to teach a position, right? And you say, I'm clicking too late. And you can see that on the video review of your training session. They're doing the stop contact work on the A-frame. And when you get to a trial, you realize that you are releasing the dog before the dog gets in the 2-on-2 off position. So when the dog has all 4 feet on, you're releasing the dog. Well, we know as experienced trainers, this is going to cause problems because now you're reinforcing the dog for a different behavior than the one that you were targeting. So in practice, your dog's going to do beautiful 2-on-2 off. And in every trial, the dog is going to do a 4-on leap off, and that leap is going to get higher and higher over time. So that's how you would review everything related to A-frame performance. And then finally, you are going to make an adjustment based on what you're seeing on the videos, right? Oh, I need to click sooner. I need to reinforce later. I need to be patient and wait for the dog to move into the correct position and meet criteria before I present the reward, or in a trial situation, before I go on to the next obstacle. And then once you've done that, boom, level 5, level up. Congratulations, you've leveled up your skill. And that's really where we want to get to.
Yeah. And I think, we went through these, this 5-step process, but I think the other really important thing here is that this is a cycle. And that means it goes over and over and over again. This is not just 4 steps that you go through and you're done. This is something that then repeats. And that's the really powerful piece. Every time you level up, you want to turn around and you want to tackle the next gap in your training, the next problem that you have, the next thing that's keeping you from that cue or that double cue.
I think it was the most recent podcast that we did where we talked about what separates like the top 10% of handlers from everyone else.
Right.
And so again, it wasn't about having the fastest dog or the right breed or being fast or tall or young or anything like that. But I think the success cycle is one of those things, right? The very best trainers and handlers have a system in place, a process that lets them identify mistakes, and then figure out what to do, go out and practice it, tape themselves practicing it, review that, adjust, and keep going. And so they are constantly refining their performances.
Right.
Ultimately, progress isn't about working harder, right? Or practicing more. It's about really knowing where you are and exactly what you need to do next. And that's what the success cycle helps with.
So as we wrap up here, I just wanted to say that the VIP program is our membership program. It opens once a year to new members, and that time is right now. And the reason that I want to talk about it here is that it really helps with every single step in the success cycle. It's going to give you tons of knowledge, fill all of your knowledge gaps, find your blind spots, identify your gaps. It's going to help you with your execution, really kind of break down the execution side of handling, being very specific about what your timing should be, what your footwork should be, and your positioning, in the course. And then reviewing that. So having expert eyes, me, Esteban, Jen, looking at your video, doing the review, letting you know where your timing is perfect and where it might need some, changes. And then based on that, you can make the adjustments and get that level up to the next level and start doing better, queuing more, faster times. So if that's something that you're interested in, there will be a link in the show notes to all the information on the VIP program.
Yeah, whether or not you join the VIP, our hope is that you now have a map, a blueprint, and wherever you are in the cycle, the success cycle, you can move forward and take that next step. You know what to do. Exactly.
And that's it for this week's podcast. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Synoviton OA and Clip and Go Agility. Happy training.
Thank you for listening to Bad Dog Agility. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information, updates, and links to all our socials, just check out our website, www.baddogagility.com. If you haven't already signed up for our email subscription, we would love to have you join the BDA community. Until next time, take care.